So today we'll be taking a look at what was the final wave of the original run of the Legacy Collection back around 2009, 2010. To me, this is probably one of the most iconic waves in Star Wars action figure history. And to me, I personally feel it was the best wave of the Legacy Collection at the time. And unfortunately, it's also one of the most expensive waves to get a hold of today. All 6 of these action figures here I've seen go for $1,000 even for the entire lot. Fortunately, I didn't really pay anywhere near that. I got these years ago. I did not get them during the original run, but I did get them a few years later, and most of them I've gotten for a good price. The reason why these ones are so expensive is, for one, they're EU characters, and EU action figures are typically expensive always and very popular. And also, from my understanding, I think these were released exclusively at Toys R Us at the time, and they were only one case per store basically. So if you're not one of the lucky few to get a hold of that one case that came out, one of each action figure, that's probably the only time you're going to see it. I do recall at the time, especially these two here, which we'll get into, I've seen people say they got them for like $3 on clearance at the time. So basically it was a wave that you had to get on the spot in order to get it for a decent price. But unfortunately now we have to pay aftermarket premium for them. So as I said, it is an entirely EU wave. We have the Phase 1 Dark Trooper, which showed up in the original Dark Forces game. I know one of the planets, I forget which one specifically. I think it may have been Rusan, if I recall correctly. It's been many years since I played it. Towards the end, you battle one of these. We have the Imperial Space Trooper, which I'm trying to think. I totally forget which content he comes from. I don't think I've read any of the books that it shows up in. And then of course we have some of the most iconic action figures in the EU, Jacen and Jaina Solo, which still remain relatively popular. I think Kylo Ren from the sequel trilogy is heavily based off of Jacen Solo, so they still carry some influence today. Then we have Shaak Ti from The Force Unleashed, a very iconic character as well. And then we have K'Kruhk, which shows up in the original Clone Wars series during the debut of General Grievous. And we also have BGJ-38, which is the Build-a-droid figure that comes with it. And also today remains one of the most expensive Build-a-droid action figures to get hold of, up there with HK-47. So we'll go into each figure. Of course, back in the day, Build-a-droid action figures, each one came with a specific part. I do recall that Jacen came with the head, Jaina came with the torso, and of course the other 4 came with a limb each. Unfortunately, I do not have any of the packages left. At the time, I threw away all my packages. I wish I still had them, but they all had very nice card art. But unfortunately, I do not have that to show you here today. But each one of these I bought brand new. They're totally complete. So we'll start off looking at the 2 Imperial Troopers that we can get in the wave. The Space Trooper and the Dark Trooper here are probably the easiest ones to get a hold of, least expensive. I've seen the Dark Trooper go for maybe the $40 range. Not cheap, but definitely much more affordable compared to the other 4 here. So yeah, this is the Phase 1 Dark Trooper. From my understanding, the Phase 2 was going to be released at some point, but it was unfortunately canceled. And of course we got the Phase 3 Dark Trooper, which came out in the Power of the Force line and also was re-released in the 30th anniversary collection. And what's great about all these action figures too is all 6 of them were entirely new sculpts specifically for their particular figure. Gone are the days where Hasbro used to release entirely newly tooled waves for each action figure. Nowadays it's just mostly repaints and repacks, and you might get 1 or 2, if you're lucky, entirely newly tooled action figures in a wave. And the fact that these retail for like $7.99, $8.99 each, it's incredible how things have changed over the years. So yeah, the Phase 1 Dark Trooper, very nice action figure. Remains one of my favorites in the line. As I said, as far as I know, I think these only showed up in 1 level of the original Dark Forces game, which I have played. One of my favorite games, first-person shooter games. Used to play it a lot as a kid. And the Phase 1 Dark Troopers did not come with a rifle of any sorts. They basically came with an armed sword, basically. Which I'm not sure if you could take that off. I'm not going to attempt to, though. Of course, he comes with this shield. Which I'm not sure if it's blaster resistant or not. And unlike the Phase 2 and the Phase 3 Dark Trooper, I don't think these guys can jetpack around. They travel by foot. And they are a droid, if you did not know. Well, that's a very nice detailing. Very articulated too. The head is on a ball joint there, but unfortunately you can't get a lot of motion out of it. It's mostly side to side. Doesn't really bother me, but just a point to note. Very good shoulder articulation there. I don't think we've ever really seen anything like it. It's on a swivel there, connected to the torso, and then an extra joint along the shoulder there. He does have a hinged elbow there, swivel wrist. Same for this side as well. Swivel torso there, or swivel waist, I should say. And then swivel hips, and then a hinge at the knee, and then a hinge at the ankle there. Of course, he has all these tubes around. Some of them I do think come out, like the one for the sword there does. In case you want to get a little bit of extra articulation out of his elbow there. Without it being restricted. But yeah, that's really all there is to say about the Phase 1 Dark Trooper there. Very nice action figure to own. Next we got the Space Trooper here. As I said, I totally forget which media source he comes from. I do know it's one of the, I believe, the original EU stories. I do think there is a person in here. It's not, they're not droids. And this is definitely the most affordable action figure from the wave to get. I've seen this go for like $20 even. And the reason being is it's had multiple releases. I do know it got released in the Saga Legends line, back when the Saga Legends line used to include like all the weapons gear and things like that, and it was really cool. So he's seen multiple releases. It's the only one from this wave that has seen that. And because of that, he is very affordable. Again, not the most exciting action figure from the wave, but it is a very nice one to own if you're able to get a hold of one. Does not come with any accessories. His weapons, as you can see, he has weapons on his forearms there, which I assume this part of his armor there will close up. Of course, it's sculpted like that, but they would close up and hide his blasters there. Articulation is very good. Again, I believe the neck is on a, yeah, it is on a ball point there. But unfortunately, you can only mostly get side to side. He can look up a little bit, not a whole lot. Very good shoulder articulation there. Very good elbows, swivel wrist. Kind of a ball jointed torso there, but can mostly go side to side. Swivel hips there, hinged knee, and then a hinged ankle. He stands very good on his own, not top heavy at all. The backpack here can be removed, which I believe is a jetpack. Fits very well on his back, doesn't fall off at all. Getting lots of good detailing there. Something that was kind of unique for the time is the shoulder armor there is actually attached to the torso instead of the actual shoulders, which we're starting to see a lot more now in the vintage collection. But at the time, this was a very unique feature. So that's the Space Trooper there. Next, we'll take a look at Jacen Solo here. One of my favorite action figures that I have in my collection, actually. One of my favorite characters to read about as well. This particular, for both Jacen and Jaina, are from the New Jedi Order book series during the Yuuzhan Vong War. I have read most of those, and I've read the Legacy of the Force book series, which takes place during the later years for Jacen and Jaina. This era for them is more when they're like late teens, early 20s, I believe. Again, probably one of the most iconic action figures you can get from the Legacy collection, arguably one of the most iconic Star Wars action figures to date. Very expensive to get a hold of. You can always find listings on eBay, but again, some of them go for hundreds of dollars even. It's it'd be nice if these get a re-release, but these might be part of the lost tooling that Hasbro had at the time. I have heard that a lot of the tooling from this particular era has been lost, so they would end up redoing an entirely new figure if it came about, which, who knows, in today's world anything's possible. Of course, these accessories he comes with on his arm, around his neck there, and then this piece is separate. As far as I know, it's actual Yuuzhan Vong. I forget what the backstory specifically is to these. I forget if it's like mind control or something like that. It's been many years since I've read this series. Of course, for those of you that don't know, the Yuuzhan Vong in the expanded universe is an alien race that came from the Outer Rim and invaded the New Republic shortly after Return of the Jedi. I think it may have been like 10 or 20 years after the fact. It was after the X-Wing series and the Thrawn trilogy, if I recall correctly. Yes. Good detailing there. You can take these off. I'm not going to. You just pop the head off and then pull this off with it. I think if I recall correctly, I have done it before, and he has a little bit of a giraffe neck about him. And same with his wrists there. I do still have the elastic band holding his lightsaber in. I actually do have two Jacen solos. The other one does not have the elastic band. As far as I know, he holds it very well. But I figure since I bought this one brand new, it came with it already, and I'm not going to take it off. So very good paint detailing there. Back in these days, Hasbro didn't really have quality control so much, or bad quality control, I should say. So we didn't really have too many goofy eyes or paint apps missing or anything like that. It's very solid, very crisp. Articulation, he does have the ball joint at the head there, but it can mostly just go side to side. Maybe look to his side a little bit like that. Doesn't go up and down very well. He does have the hinge at the shoulder, hinge at the elbow, swivel wrist, swivel waist there, swivel hips, hinge at the knee, and hinge at the ankle as well. Very good articulation. I have seen this body for, well, actually, it's very similar to the Bespin Luke, and I have seen some people where they make like a custom head and they just put it on the Bespin Luke outfit and make a custom Jacen solo, and I've even seen some guys make a whole lot of customs of those and sell them for like $30 on eBay. So if it's an action figure that you're interested in, that might be an option for you if you're not interested in paying the price for the original. Really like that hair sculpt he has on him. And of course he just comes with the one lightsaber. And this wraps around very nicely around him. So that's half the wave. Next we'll take a look at Jaina solo. Again, another very iconic action figure, the twin, the Jacen. She does have a Black Series action figure as well, which is very nice. Nothing like this one. I forget specifically where the Black Series one is based off of, but this one again is based off the New Jedi Order book series. Another one of my favorite action figures in my collection. She didn't come with a whole lot. Her only accessory was just her lightsaber there. Very unique color as well. Not quite as good at paint detailing as Jacen, but still very nice. For many years, Tongori would do auctions for Jaina solos. I can't tell you how many he sold in auctions, and a lot of times they would go for $50 or $60 even. I did bid on one time and got one for, I think it was like $60 or so. This one I bought brand new. Very good sculpting in her hair there. You can definitely see the resemblance to Leia somewhat. So very good articulation for her. Of course, she has the ball jointed at the head there. Very good range of motion. She has the hinged shoulder there, hinged elbow, swivel wrist, swivel waist, swivel hips, and then a hinged knee, then a hinged ankle as well. It'd be nice if this action figure got re-released. Don't see it happening, unfortunately. This one, you can see she has a little bit of pink lips on her. She does have a peg for a lightsaber. Unfortunately, there's not a removable hilt or an extra hilt or anything like that, but if you have a spare lightsaber lying around, you could plug one in her belt there. And yeah, it's a great action figure to own, especially these two. Next we got Shaak Ti from The Force Unleashed. Another very iconic character, especially from that game. I do have Maris Baroud as well from the 30th anniversary line. And of course, lots of good detail on Shaak Ti here. A character that they can't decide if they want to kill her off or not. Her right hand doesn't hold her lightsaber very well. I think if I recall correctly, she did have an elastic band around her hand and her lightsaber, but mine, I think, degraded from age, unfortunately. But thankfully, her left hand holds it very well. That's a good paint detailing. Very good articulation as well. Again, she has a joint at the neck there. It can get pretty good range, but her head tails, I forget specifically what they're called. I know they're not head tails. Starts with a T, I think. But they do hinder some of her neck articulation there. Hinge at the shoulder there. Hinge at the elbow and swivel wrist. A swivel waist there. Swivel hips, hinged at the knee, and then hinge at her ankle as well. Looks like she has some type of necklace there as well. Various markings. So yeah, another great action figure to have in your collection. As far as Shaak Ti's go, this is definitely the best Shaak Ti to date, probably. Definitely one of the more iconic ones. But of course, if you're looking for a more movie accurate Shaak Ti, this is not the one to get. That would probably be the Legacy Collection. I believe it was the Legacy Collection. It came in a 2-pack. I believe a Super Battle Droid. That's the one to get if you're looking for a more movie accurate Shaak Ti. She didn't come with any other accessories other than her lightsaber as well. And of course, if you've played the Force Unleashed game, you know the backstory that she plays into it. Then the last action figure from the wave, other than the Build-a-droid, is K'Kruhk, which I do know he plays a larger role in the expanding universe. From my understanding, he does not die at the hands of General Grievous. When we see him, he's the character that was brave enough to confront Grievous, but I believe he lost his arm, and then Grievous cut him down in the process. And then at the very beginning of season 2, when we see the ARC troopers come to save the remaining Jedi, we see Grievous pick up his lightsaber. Focus there. And from my understanding, he does not die at that scene. He's able to regenerate somehow, and he happens to be in many of the comics. They even take, I believe, even in the Star Wars Legacy, during the times of Darth Krayt, he shows up in, as a ghost at least. Definitely one of the most unique Jedi action figures you can have in your collection. He's very large, very tall, as you can see, comparing to many of the other Jedi. Up there with the uniqueness of like Pablo Jill. And he's a great action figure to look at. Having the background of your collection there. Kind of scary to look at as well. There's a very large feet on him. Of course, he can stand very well, but I always put a stand on as many action figures as possible. Articulation, again, is about the same as the rest of them. I believe he has a joint at the neck there, but of course, given his beard and his hair there, very hard to move other than side to side. He has a hinge at the shoulder, hinge at the elbow, swivel wrist, swivel waist there, swivel hips, and then hinge at the knee and hinge at the ankle there. Has almost like tusks there. Lots of good paint detailing. Again, between him, Jacen and Jaina, and Shaak Ti, they're typically the most expensive action figures to get in the line in this particular wave. I've seen K'Kruhk go for hundreds even. Low supply and high demand. And of course, he just comes with his one lightsaber, which does have a unique hilt. Almost looks like a microphone in some ways. Very good detailing on his hands as well. And then last but not least, if you're able to complete the entire wave, then you complete this droid, BGJ-38, which I believe he is in Return of the Jedi. He's part of Jabba's court, I believe. It's one of those blink and you miss characters. Again, you can buy him complete on eBay, but he's typically very expensive. One of the most expensive Build-a-droid action figures to date. Almost looks like a bug in some ways, like a fly. He is very fragile. His legs typically don't stand very well, and you have to put him in this wonky position somewhat, and he doesn't have a large enough peg in his foot typically to fit a stand. Of course, articulation for many of the Build-a-droids is very simple. Just has a swivel neck and swivel shoulders. Has a hinged elbow there, nothing in the wrist. Swivel waist, swivel hips, and then hinges at the knees there. And I don't think he has any articulation in his ankles. Almost looks like there is, but there is not. Very good detailing on him. You can definitely tell he's a little rough and ready. And as I said, I believe Jacen came with the head, Jaina came with the torso, and then the other four each contained a limb. Very interesting legs he has. I usually put them in, next to Jabba the Hutt on my display. So yeah, that's the final wave of the Legacy Collection. As I said, it's probably one of the most iconic Star Wars action figure waves ever released. It still holds up very well today. From the Legacy Collection itself, it's definitely one of the most standout waves to own. Would I recommend this wave to you? I absolutely would. To date, these are still some of the best Star Wars action figures you can get. Each one's unique. Each one has unique tooling. I don't think any of the tooling from any of these have been reused at all. Unfortunately, like I said, it is a very expensive wave. I've seen the entire wave as one bundle on eBay before, and sometimes it goes for hundreds of dollars and maybe even $1,000. But if you do have the money to burn on it, and they're all characters that are very important to you, then I definitely think it's worth the money. Of course, each one of these characters are important to me. I grew up on the expanding universe and reading about like Jacen and Jaina, and I played The Force Unleashed and read some about K'Kruhk, know about the Dark Trooper, and a little bit about the Space Trooper. And so these are all very important characters to me, and if you're able to get a hold of these, they definitely bring a lot of unique variety to your collection compared to all the Anakins and Obi-Wans and Ahsokas that we get these days. These are all great action figures to own. But anyway, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more reviews in the future, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Let me know what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching.